Oh,
I'm back,
wait.
homie.
Is my camera facing the wrong way? Hold on. All right. So I didn't want you to think I fuck it. It timed out. It's one
Yeah,
hour.
no, no
I
worries,
invited
man.
everybody back in because that was a good exchange, dude. Hold
Yeah.
on. Just wait. People will join back up.
Okay.
The and dude, I fucking welcome this. I like it. It's not, you're not hurting my feelings.
No, you're
All right,
not hurting my feelings, dude.
let
I,
me
I
get
love
these
the same
other
shit,
guys
man.
in here. No, it takes a second.
Yeah, all
I don't.
good, man. How the fuck are you, dude?
I'm good. Fucking busy, man. I need fucking 8 hour days and fucking 35-day months. Or no, 28 hour days and 35. Dude, time is the biggest thing that works against me. Um, hang on. Dustin, Mike, send me a request, man. See if we can get them back in one at a time. There we go.
Yo,
All right.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah,
Okay,
what's up?
cool.
I didn't cancel it. Instagram canceled it because they hate gun stuff. So it only lasted for an hour,
Yeah, it
right?
was an hour.
All right. So let's pick back up. Fuck you. Let's go.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is, right? So take off where you left off, right? Because you were saying like it cut off where you were talking about guys with all those resources, right? And that's a constant thing that I hear. Do you remember what you were saying or your train of
Yeah,
thought?
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. So it's been something that I've seen where guys come from your office, your community specifically, and they have massive reps. They're amazing operators. They're fucking amazing marksmen, at least most of them. And you guys have high levels of operational experience. You have the highest levels of training, and you have all the assets, all the resources, all the intel, and you have those things to work with. And then you come out of that environment, and a lot of times don't understand that like average police departments don't have near that amount of assets or resources. Civilians certainly don't. Um, Conventional military units don't. So I see that there's a huge disconnect sometimes with like the lens that you're teaching from versus the reality on the ground for everybody's specific
So
training capabilities, assets, and resources, and the environment that they work in.
so we can talk to like trainings and asset and resources, right? Capabilities are individual, right? That's We'll talk about that one second, but like so the assets and resources, I 100% understand guys don't have it. I also think
Right.
that if you've never been at that level, you don't understand like how minimal the training is, right? Like if I were to ask you, how long do you think the CQB training is that you get to when you go to that place? Like how many hours or days would you think it is?
I mean, based on what OTC, like what you guys do in OTC, or based on what you
Yeah,
do after
based off
OTC.
whatever you know. Like when do they say, "Yep, you're good to go. You can work with these guys."
When you pass all your qualifications and become part of the unit, is that what you're talking about?
Talking about CQB specifically,
I mean,
because
I
that's
don't know
what we're
how.
talking about. It's nine
Yeah,
days. It's 9 days. It's 9 days of training. That's
out of
it.
all of OTC, your CQB is only 9 days.
It's 9 days of training and then reps.
Okay.
It's actually 18 1/2 days, right? Because you have to shoot. You're doing another thing,
Right.
another program in the morning, and then you do that, right? So it's all the way that you practice that is the most important, which is the thing that I am constantly stressing, right? And the CQB thing course we just did was it's reps, it's concerted effort practice, and it's isolation skill development. And then not looking at the sum of all parts, which is what everyone does in CQB training. It's break it down, fix this one, put it back together, put it in two, put it in three, put it in four-man entries, right? All of them, yes, being the worst case scenario where we're maximizing the three principles, right? Surprise, speed, violence of action, right? Outside of any type of intel gathering big scenarios, just don't violate these principles. And then teaching points and cues when those principles are violated. Does it make sense? Does it not make sense? Did we get away with it? Did we not get away with it? Right? It's very, very simple training. And that's all it is. It's not this fucking like fairy dust ghost magic shit that I see in the internet or in the civilian training world. Right? So
Yeah, I,
it's
I completely agree with you, man. I agree that
but
there's a
but
ton
but
of bullshit out there for sure.
But it gets really muddied, man, where it's like when you say, no, there's all these different ways. There isn't. There just isn't. Now, obviously, that's my experience, my version of this against yours. And then it comes down to having the conversation that it is hard to win, where it's like, do I have more experience than you? And I don't want to have that conversation. I want to have this makes the most sense, right? This is what's worked for me, right? Like I love it when I hear guys on the internet that like, how many times I'm going to get killed? How many times I'm going to get killed doing this? How many times I'm going to get killed doing that, right? Where here I am still talking and I haven't been killed doing it. So what the fuck do you know about this bit? And everyone talks about it, right? You have your own experiences that are unique to you, and they're unique down a certain path. But make no mistake about it, our fucking experiences are not the same. They are
No,
not even remotely the same. They're not
I
even,
completely agree. But people that have a lower level of experience doesn't mean that they don't have anything to offer to the conversation or to the
and
advancement
I've
of the craft.
I've never said that, and I've never
I've
shied
been
away
accused
from a
of that.
conversation. I fucking literally brought you in off of text messages that I'm getting where I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know who this dude is. Like, come on in. And I'm still racing my mind. I don't like TBI is a horrible drug. So I don't fucking remember you, but I like the conversation. But at some point you have to realize like, did you ever play football in high school?
No. Played soccer.
All right, you played soccer, right?
Yep.
Would you go into Manchester United, their their offensive fucking team room, and tell them how to do business? You played soccer, so would you do that? Does that make sense to do that? Or
I
could
mean,
you even do it?
if I played soccer at a professional level, then yes. If I did not play soccer at a professional level, then no. And
And
what I
that's how
mean
I
by
look. That's how I look at all of this.
what I mean by that is if I've made an entry in a room and put a reticle on a face or a
That's
chest and fucking dumped a
here.
motherfucker,
Here it
then
goes. We got to go back to this. We got to start talking about
well, let's
this.
differentiate. Based on your example, what delineates a professional with professional advice? If I've
You
entered a room and I've killed a motherfucker several times, not just once, not just twice, not just three times, then does my opinion have value to someone like you?
no, your opinion. No, your opinion is still your opinion
Okay.
because now how we're talking about it, right? Where I will immediately go to these guys. I've done this several times, several times. Okay, all right. I've worked at some decent places. I still work at a fucking high level. Like I'm curious. Like when the fuck did you guys do all this? Right? I get it. It happened, but like all of these guys present themselves where you have all of this entry experience fucking gunfighting in confined spaces that I don't think the vast majority of guys in the unit have. So one of us is fucking lying. I'm either lying about that we all don't have that experience or you're fucking lying about that you have it. And that's where the experience you can't use it because you can't fucking justify it or quantify it. No one was there or whatever. It's your view. Like there's three stories of fucking combat, right? There's your version, there's the enemy's version, then there's actually what happened,
Right.
right? And that's where this all falls apart. Like, oh, I've never I've entered a room and put a reticle on a dude's face and dumped them. All right, that tells me a whole bunch that I don't want to address, right? Because that's a really weird fucking thing to use, like to hang your hat on. Like that's your fucking talking point, is that that's what you've done, where you can't explain
No,
like
it's not my talking point, Matt. It's my qualification of my experience because you earlier in the conversation were talking about how experience matters, and I completely agree with that. Experience does matter.
it.
There's no substitute for qualified experience and that's what makes you a subject matter expert. How many times have you done it? At what level have you done it? How many reps do you have? And how well can you speak to the subject matter that you've participated in at that level?
Yeah,
So,
that's what we're talking about now, but we're
right.
not talking about like quantifying it through like dirty deeds that you've done, like or the deeds that you've done, right? It's quantifying it from we're talking about training mentality and training methodology. How guys should be training. In application,
Yeah.
to be
Okay.
honest, then
Yeah. So let's talk about that.
there's only one dude in this whole fucking chat that can actually talk to how law enforcement guys do business for real. Because I was never a cop. Maybe you were. I
Nope.
don't think Mike was. So we can't talk to that. We're talking about training methodology, but this becomes an emotional debate for everyone because everybody's put a reticle on their face and kill dudes, brother. Like it, I don't care about that's fucking stupid to me, right? And to think that I'm not, this is where it's hard. I'm not trying to distract from your service, but I also don't think that
I'm
what
not
you think
insulted.
you served at that level is actually that level. Based off what I know from my experience, seeing support guys, I know what a fucking LNO does in a fucking major battle running a partner force, right? One
Right.
dude running a 300-man partner force, you did fucking nothing. You did logistics.
I mean,
Anyone that's
no.
done that, no. Yeah, but again, no, because that's the quantifier to well, I've done all this. I've battled. Like, okay, we're talking about training and shit. We can go down that fucking rabbit hole of whose dick's bigger or what. It's a worthless fucking battle. And that's the whole argument with this YouTube fucking retards and every fucking former whoever on the internet claiming that they fucking laid down more dudes than the last dude.
Yeah. And
It's a circus of fucking clowns,
no,
dude. And
I agree with you.
you're playing right into it.
I mean, I'm not playing into anything. I'm qualifying my experience sitting in a room with tier one guys who have high levels of experience. So if we're going to have a debate, it's important for me to qualify my experience. Okay. So,
So the debate is about training, right? It's about training methodologies, right? And where what guys should be training and how they should be training, right? And I am under the pretext or the I advocate for CQB is simple, make it simple, right? Don't muddy the waters, don't turn it into fucking fantasy land story time. And then also the guys that are receiving the training have a critical eye to know if the dude is saying bullshit. And I would say if you tell a fucking story about like what entering a room in reticles, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And I will hold to my guns on that all day long because the best guys in the world that I know don't talk like that.
so let
The
me ask you
only
this
guys
then.
that talk like
Why
that are
after
the
what we
fucking
taught, why after what we taught you when you were at Det One, did your team leader Chunks change your SOPs to what we taught after we taught that if there was no value to it? If we're going to talk about training, let's go back to the beginning
yeah.
when you were first introduced into delivered entry and we schooled the fuck out of you guys and you changed your SOPs based on what we taught you. And other units have done it too. Like I've trained 75th. I've trained everybody, bro. Like I've had students from Dev Group. I've had students from fucking CAG. I've had students from 75th Ranger Regiment. So like a lot of units have changed their SOPs to what I've taught, and in fact, like pioneered one man room clearing entries all the way back to fucking 2001 when I first started working with Dave. So if we're talking about training here and you want to completely disqualify deliberate entry and say it's stupid to work from the door, it's stupid to clear as much of the room as you can, and it should be just
It,
hard and
it
fast
so
all the
so
time.
this is where it is. It's stupid for fucking law enforcement and drywall and
Yes.
drywall walls. If you don't think it is in the daytime, then you're fucking stupid.
Do you
We
have
did
element
it.
of surprise?
No, you don't because it's knock and announce. So learn about the people you're teaching, right? You knock and announce that you're there, and now you want to fuck around in the most dangerous things. We changed SOPs, or we understood what we were taught from a low light perspective, and it really didn't change where we stood or what we did in terms of the doorway. It changed how we used our lights. So again, you weren't there when we took forward with it with Chunks and all of the other team leaders at Det One that did that. But you quantify that because you visited us on a fucking range for 3 days in a warehouse in downtown San Diego, that you're now somehow connected to that fucking unit. You were not connected to that unit, not even in the most remote fucking fashion. The same way you weren't connected to any fucking unit that you supported on whatever endeavor you were on as an LNO. But
I
you
was really
talk
good
about
friends
it,
with Chunks. I was really good friends with Cedar Home. I was really
dude.
good friends with Conrad. I was really good friends with Palucci. So I do have really good idea of what you guys were doing and what was going on at that particular time. So
That's
once
good.
again,
Then you know more than I do
I
because you
don't
were
know more
really
than
good
you do.
friends
Once
with the
again, I'm
dudes that I'm
qualifying
friends with.
myself in the conversation. I'm
Okay, well,
qualifying.
your
You're accusing me
qualification,
of not knowing what the fuck I'm talking about.
your
I'm
your
telling you I
qualification.
did.
Your qualification as being friends with dudes is not a qualification, right? It didn't change how we did business in the room. It changed how we used the light, right? And it opened our eyes up to a process in the doorway. The assaults that we did were not deliberate in any way, right? And if you talk to any of those dudes, right, the night Mike Terrell was shot, like all of that shit, you would know that none of that shit was deliberate. I
So
literally was the fucking
you guys didn't hybridize your TTPs at all based off of what we taught.
no. Our
Okay.
TTPs were
Okay.
manipulated, and we changed them. We scaled up and scaled down as needed, but we didn't rewrite an SOP based off a course. We stole what we needed to, what made sense. A lot of good shit.
That's what you're supposed to do.
There was a lot of kooky shit that Dave said, that Dave continues to say to this day, that is like, no, we didn't do that, right? The J hooks or whatever, that's all very organic and useful to a whole different group of people that Dave has trained, right? Not overt force in the military, right? Not a task unit in the military, right? But so we didn't adopt that, but we adopted some other things, and then we took them just like you do with any training. You take you become a good thief. I steal this, steal this, steal this, right? And then through reps and practice, right? And what you don't see with Chunks was every single night that we weren't out doing something, we were in the house running this to ground. Does this make sense? Does it not make sense? Applying critical thought to it, talking of it. And yes, Dave and you guys spawned that in us, but it really came from our takeaway from it was Surefire Institute Dave's low light shit. It was the paintballers that did the most, right? It was, you remember going against the fucking professional paintballers, right? That was fucking horrible. And those were the conversations that were more valuable than the TTP side, because as we looked at it, right, like Dave hadn't fought. We had all fought at least once at that point, right? Some of us twice. So going forward, it was just like, yeah, teach me your thing. Hopefully, we were good students. We learned it, tried to do apply it in the class, but then we took it away and we put it into the SOPs that we did. But it didn't change into this slow, fucked up method entry that guys do now. It just
Yeah, I
didn't.
agree to you. I agree. I agree with what you're saying. And I think we demonstrated it that you don't have to do deliberate entry slow. It can be done nearly as fast as dynamic assault can be done if you know it and you've practiced it enough. It can be just as quick. So I agree with what you're saying, but you are admitting that like you guys did take parts and pieces of what we did and you hybridized what you're doing. You may not have written a new SOP off of it, but you did learn stuff. There were takeaways there, and you guys did implement some of it. Correct?
Yeah, we
Okay,
do that with everything. But
right, as you should.
but from a
Well,
training standpoint, right? I will take any of you guys and like let's go do the most what you would call dynamic assault, and you cannot keep up with that. because that is where the training methodology and the training pace needs to be. Not the slow down and get your hits deliberate shit. Not when conditions are pitch black, you're under nods working exclusively on lasers. Not that world, right? But that is what you know, that is what guys know. And now you try to fit this in to law enforcement, to, federal agencies where the conditions aren't met for them to do that, right? Serving a warrant at 8 in the morning, you should not be playing in the doorway, right? You wouldn't do that if you were arresting a suspect in a parking lot that wanted to fight. You wouldn't do it slowly, would you? I don't
I
I
mean,
don't think I don't
no.
think you would. You wouldn't go
So
outside on a bar fight and fight in slow motion.
no,
So,
but I think
so
a lot of it also depends on like what's your who's your threat? How violent are they? What's your TT, or what, not your TTPs, but like what is your what's your current, you know, um what's the current threat level? How violent is this guy?
You
Like is
don't know
he
so
that. You don't know
it,
that when you're doing a search warrant, bro.
that's the
yeah.
You have
fucking
no
thing.
idea. You, I've been on search warrants with people that this was a low threat level, and we've gone in the house,
So you guys have
and
no
we've,
background on your suspect. You guys have
yeah,
no
no, no. That's
prior
what I'm saying.
intelligence.
That's what I'm saying is I've
Yeah.
had prior intelligence on this person, but saying that, oh, we're gonna do threshold assessment on this because it's a low, it's a low threat doesn't make any sense because it's like dealing with, how do you know that this guy's not going to get violent on you?
Right.
You don't. So
Don't.
you treat all people like they're going to be fucking violent. So you got to get
It's
through the door fast. You can't do a threshold assessment in the U.S. on. Again, I was never in the military. I was a cop for 27 years, and this whole thing of wanting to pry doors is not good for U.S. law enforcement. And then also thinking, well, if this intelligence in his background is telling me that he's not going to be violent or doesn't have anything in his past to say that, that's not good to follow as well and take as 100%. We should look at that and go, okay, that's something to look at, but I'm still going to treat this dude uh, with some aggression until we get him handcuffed, use the force that needs to be used, and then we get him cuffed and we figure it out.
Okay.
would it make
So question to that: if the principles of dynamic assault are speed, surprise, violence of action, why are you guys planning raids at 8 o'clock in the morning or like 10 o'clock in the morning or whatever the case may be? Because that is not, to me, that's not surprise. Going in at 2 a.m. when that dude is racked out and sleeping and is fast, in dream world, and blowing through the house super fast and getting to him in his bed before he can figure out what's going on, that
Yeah,
makes
if
more
you
sense.
if
So
you can get that search warrant for a nighttime
yeah.
search warrant, yeah, that would be great.
yeah.
So do you
Yeah,
think that there is a fucking judge involved in this in the law enforcement world where they don't get to hit the target whenever
No,
they
I
want?
believe it's a super difficult. I don't judge police officers. I support them. My hat's off to them. I've trained several law enforcement officers, trained several federal entities to include DEA. So like I get it. I understand. And the conversation that I'd like to have is like there's more than one way to skin a cat, and a lot of things are situation dependent. So it's not one way rule. It's not one ring to rule them all specifically. So with
No,
regard to CQB tactics, so
it is situation dependent, right? But there is a worst case scenario where you have to perform, right? And I think we talked about that before we brought you on. The worst case, in my
right,
opinion, is not really, because I think more patrol officers are going to see a hostage rescue situation than a SWAT team, right? So
right,
really, when we
100%.
talk about the training methodology, like why are we pushing, hey, go fast, go hard, build foundational skills that support that, right? In terms of training is really for active shooter, right? For the time where you don't get to have a plan, you have to just go react to the situation and it unfolds very correctly. And this is where I think, like, I'll challenge everyone. The deliberate dynamic thing, like, that is a bunch of bullshit. Look those fucking words up. If you're too fucking stupid to understand how to Google something, dynamic is involves an ever changing environment or an environment that's constantly changing. So I think every single police interaction could be categorized as dynamic. right? And deliberate doesn't mean slow. In any definition that you find, it doesn't mean slow. This is
Yeah, I agree
shit
with you. It doesn't
that
mean slow. It means careful.
it absolutely doesn't mean careful. It means well planned, right? The execution is what becomes where success lies, and how aggressively can you execute whatever technique you want to use, which is what we've said before. But until you actually go and develop yourself to a point where you can understand this is where the conversation becomes hard, right? Because it's like deliberate doesn't mean slow, right? I can do limb pen CQV better than the fucking dudes that invented it. I've proved it. So it's not the technique that I'm wrapped around the axle about. It's the training methodology and the execution of it, which is all propped up based off foundational skills, right? The better you can shoot, the better you can move, the better you can, be aware of what's happening, and you can tie cause and effect together and make changes on the fly. You can feed that into whatever TTP you want to use. The
Yeah,
problem
completely agree.
is guys don't fucking do that. They
Right.
don't train, they don't shoot. You got all these dudes talking about shit that happened in Fallujah, shit that happened wherever that no one gives a fuck about, as like that's your litmus test for that. Like my litmus test is the shit that I did this week to try to get better, to continue to progress, to
Right.
continue to train, to continue to develop foundational skills. Right? I will take the geekiest, dorkiest practical shooters. I'll take three of those over any fucking operator I know to
Yeah,
go
because they
in.
have good foundational skills. Yeah, I get it.
And that is the real conversation. But guys want to get wrapped around the emotional part of like, well, there's other ways to do CQB. There's fucking not from a training standpoint. If HR is on my metal, then I only train HR, right? If it's not, if unopposed assaults are, then I don't give a fuck what you do. I don't care what you go in there with your fucking finger in your ass and fucking yell slurs at everyone. Like you'll be the same effect, right? But I think in terms of like you look at the second Fallujah, which you were at, right? There was surprise was given up because they surrounded, called it out. You leverage speed where you can, and when you couldn't leverage speed, you leverage violence, right? And then based off the conditions, dictated the TTP. There were times where you had to run in, where you had to be fast, and there were times where you needed to be reserved,
Yeah, and
right?
I mean that I mean
But
you just
no, but
illustrated
no
my
one
point.
No one needs to practice being reserved. That's a fucking bullshit training methodology. I have to practice being slow. If I can do it at full speed, I know I can do it at half speed. The problem is, none of you motherfuckers can do it at full speed, or your full speed looks completely different to what I think full speed is. Right. And then it goes down to like, well, you've had all these resources. Yeah. I've also had the drive for 30 fucking years to continue to develop, right? No one gave me that resource. I built that resource on my own. And that's what we're trying to instill
Yeah,
in
no one's taking
anyone
that away from
listening.
you.
I don't care if you can't take it away from me.
I
And I
know.
don't I don't care about that. I also am not focused on shit I used to do. I'm focusing on how do we make guys better and more lethal now? How do we spawn training and training methodology? And that
Yeah,
was the whole
and my
point of
answer
this
to that is to be
conversation.
open-minded to other techniques, principles, and procedures outside of like what you've been dogmatically beaten into your head for years and years and years and years and years. And we proved it when we trained you guys at Det One. Like you guys for years and years were the cream of the crop of the Marine Corps community, super elite force recon Marines that had done things a specific way your whole entire career, and you came to us and we fucking ruined you guys in CQB. I mean, we wrecked you guys in that particular environment, in a low light CQB environment,
What
force on
what year was
force,
this? What year were you talking about, brother?
2003.
So we're
So
over 20 years ago, and we're still talking about how you
So
wrecked him.
so you
I
had
guess I'm
all these
confused.
guys that had all this experience, Dave Maynard, right? Oh, dude, and I get it.
Denny
We
Shocker was
train.
also there, who's
Yeah,
the tier
Denny,
one ST6, plank holder of SEAL Team 6. So yeah,
zero combat experience. Yeah, I know Denny Chalker. Yeah,
right.
so it's good. At that time, yeah, it was Surefire Institute. And I get it. If that's, hey, yes, you wrecked us. I'm good with that. You did. Unfortunately, I continued on and you guys didn't. So
I mean,
here
that's
we
not
are.
true. I continued on. Like, I'm going
You
back
can
to Ukraine for my third trip this week. So I fought in three wars, bro. I've seen it all. So
good.
I'm not better than you. I'm
I want
not,
you to be safe. I want you
but
to
I'm
be
not any
safe.
less
And
than you, bro.
I want you to be
Okay.
successful, right?
And
And I
I'm
hope you're successful in Ukraine.
and
I
I'm trying to
really am.
contribute. I'm just trying to contribute to the conversation because the thing that I vehemently disagree about with you is that deliberate entry doesn't have a place at the table, or taking your time in a CQB environment doesn't have a place at the table.
And that's the problem. We'll never have this conversation because we've never said it doesn't have a place at the table. We're talking about training methodology. I'm never going to train to be fucking slow. You're going to train to be slow, and you're going to train this deliberate shit, and I'm going to push your shit in if we ever meet.
But
Like,
you
that's the
didn't.
way it is.
But you
Uh,
didn't.
oh,
In
dude.
2003, dude.
Oh my
Come
God,
on.
dude. You were a no one fucking Lance Corporal that continued a no one fucking career. Like, yes, you did
I know.
not create that curriculum. You worked for Surefire Institute as a fucking Lance Coconut. Shut the fuck up, dude. That's your claim to fame? Ride on that. Be successful in Ukraine, dude. Like, honestly, I want you to. But like,
But
in my opinion, you're fucking wrong. Like, and we
okay.
can obviously meet and talk about it. We can shoot.
I
We
would
can
love
train.
to. I'd love to, man.
I 100% would. Get your ass in your car and fucking drive down to North Carolina.
Okay.
100%.
All
Like,
right.
I got ammo, I got ranges, I have everything.
Okay.
Like, come down. Show
This
me what
spring.
the fucking reality of it is.
This spring. Game on, bro.
Come down this week.
I can't because I'm leaving next week to go to Ukraine, and I'll be there for 4 or 5 months. So when I get back, happy to come. I'm happy to come see you. Happy to like have a beer and like get after the training thing and like exchange
Come
good
on and bring
good
it.
information.
Yeah, I'm good with it. Hey,
I'm gonna
hey,
do it.
thank you for coming on. It was great. It was good. Yes, you pushed our shit in. I'm good. I hope my fucking ego and everything recovers from it. I'm gonna work hard on it. But I appreciate the conversation. It's actually good, to have it. And I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, man. I appreciate the conversation as well, and I will look forward to this spring, man, because I will come see you.
Come on. I'm always here.
All right, bud.
All right, man. You guys have a good one.
Yep.
See ya.